If you want to win money betting on college football in the NFL this weekend, you have come to the right place. This is Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell, and we are breaking it all down. College football, NFL, bada boom, man, people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
Well, I'm flying down to Georgia tomorrow, so I'm gonna be in the land of the dogs with the playoffs starting tomorrow. I'm feeling pretty cool. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be down in SEC country as we get this thing started SEC style, Bama, Oklahoma. It's gonna be a fun time. Overall, just really excited. We got good NFL games, NFL playoffs starting soon. College football playoff is here. Can't ask for more.
Did you hear the video of Kirby yelling at the offense yesterday outside the facility? That was
I
crazy.
I absolutely did. So, do you want to know where he is?
He's on probably a stand with the loudspeaker.
Yep, he is on one of those. I don't know what they call them, but like one of those. You're right. You go up like two, three floors in the air, and apparently it's just. I mean, I know all coaches will call it a perch, a lookout. I know coaches go up there all the time, but apparently, obviously, my girl being having gone to the University of Georgia, like it's on campus, and you walk by and you see him there, and apparently he just never leaves. He's up there from the start of practice until the final whistle, and he's just always shouting into his bullhorn.
That's awesome. There's no fear in the world what he says. That was great. I mean, that's why George is good. You know, that mentality. Now, you also got to watch out too, Grant, that you're down there this week because outside of practice, they don't have a lot going on. I mean, they're ready for Ole Miss, but they don't play till New Year. So we got a lot of street racing going down for Georgia. I wonder.
Dude, dude,
Oh,
dude, dude. Did you see a picture of the Kroger?
no.
Somebody had driven their car literally into the Kroger. Like their car was in the line where you pay the cashier. They completely just rammed through the front of Kroger. This happened like 2 days ago in Athens.
What about the Georgia boys who like stole something the other day? I heard
I
that was
don't
like
know.
a thing.
This just screams Georgia national championship to me. You got Kirby swearing in the bullhorn, a car inside of a Kroger, football players stealing things and getting arrested. This screams. This is good omen for Georgia.
Yeah, two of them got arrested a couple weeks ago, right? Or a week ago about
Yeah,
for
it was a
something.
running back and someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgia's good. This is prime Georgia. The teams that get in trouble the most are probably the best football teams, obviously. Like that's just now if you can harness that energy on the field, you're going to be good. A lot of teams undisciplined on the field and off the field. We need discipline on the field, but when we get off the field, we need some bad boys.
Yeah, it's like their vice. Their
Yeah.
vice is committing crime, but they're good football players. They
You,
channel it.
you look at like Florida back in the day with Tebow, not Tebow obviously, but the Florida days.
Timo was
Um,
the only one who wasn't doing anything.
Like that team was psychotic. They were great. There's probably been a lot of teams that
I
commit some
mean, Michigan right now. Look what the coach. Look what happens with the coaching staff with Sharon Moore and Harbaugh and everybody.
the sign stealing there, all
Yep.
that. I mean, everything there. And this, did you? I haven't watched any Harbaugh interviews, but he said he's talked to Sharon Moore since it's all dropped. Harbaugh definitely knew about it. Like that was why he was really leaving more than whatever it was with recruiting.
He definitely knew. I don't know how he didn't know.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting, I'll tell you that. But college football, I can't wait for this weekend. Friday night, Alabama, OU. It's going to be awesome. We're going to break that game down as well as the ones from the weekend, talk some NFL. But Grant, before we do that, tell the people why they need to check out WSN.com.
100% guys, if you're enjoying the videos here on the channel, which by the way, if you are, do leave a like and hit that hype button. It's the number one way you can support us. Also hitting the subscribe button so you're tuning for daily videos. But if you do like the videos here, then go to WSN.com. That's a spot where myself, Tanner, and a team of experts are giving out picks, sharing previews of big games every single day. We also got promo codes for thousands of dollars in bonuses at the sports books over there waiting at WSN.com.
And also make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, Ride the Line, smash the like button, share it, do it all, guys, and subscribe. Please, please subscribe to the show. We got pods every Tuesday and Friday with clips throughout the week. So make sure you guys do that. Big game, Grant. Big game coming up here. Why don't you take us into Alabama OU?
Yeah, 100%. And Tanner and I don't know if you want to get this put up on your screen right now, but we are going to build our perfect bracket. We're going to build the bracket that gets it all right and makes us prognosticators. We're going to win the $1 million. I don't even know if they're doing a prize for it, but it starts with OU versus Alabama. This is a game that happened a little over a month ago, happened on November 15th. Oklahoma won that game 23-21, despite Alabama gaining nearly twice as many yards as them. Bama was -3 in the turnover department. They had an 87-yard pick six, and Oklahoma ended up winning. I like Alabama in this game. John Mateer, I just don't expect the Oklahoma defense to go +3 in turnovers again. And even if it is +3, if that interception at the goal line or near the goal line is just an interception, it's not an 87-yard pick six. That game could have ended so differently. And I get that Alabama has slowed down a little as the year has ended, but John Mateer also has slowed down. So I think Alabama has enough to get it done.
So for the people taking Oklahoma in this game, because I've tried to listen to a lot of those podcasts, a lot of those takes, just because I don't see it. I can't see betting on Oklahoma in this one. Defensive ends back for Oklahoma. R. Mason Thomas, I believe, he's a stud. Coming off a hamstring injury, so that's going to be tough, obviously. But their production at defensive end has really not taken that much of a hit without him. They've still been really good on that side, really good at that position. The biggest reason people are leaning towards Oklahoma, Alabama, having the OU problem, Ty Simpson not being healthy. But besides that, I want to picture a world where Alabama's healthy. You got Cuevas coming back at tight end. John Mateer's thumb, they're saying three more weeks of rest without playing a football game on John Mateer's thumb is going to bring him back to being like Heisman Mateer. I don't know if that's the case. Even if that is the case, I still lean Alabama. I don't picture a world based on how this first game went where Alabama doesn't win the second game if they hold on to the football.
Yeah, Alabama's defense is also something people want to admit or just think. When you hear Kalen DeBoer, when you hear Alabama, you think offense. At least the modern Alabama, you think offense. It's not the case. I mean, sure, their offense is probably a little bit better than their defense, but they have defense. They can go out there and shut some people down.
Their defense was great against Georgia. Like the defense did enough to beat Georgia if you had a little offensive support. You literally had no offensive support in that game. Like Georgia had short fields, and at the end, obviously Georgia just took it to them down the stretch and had a couple big drives, right? But for the most part, like the defense had no fault of losing the SEC championship game. It was 100% on the offense.
So we're good with Alabama in this game, right?
Well, a lot of people are picking Oklahoma, but one thing I want
Well,
to check.
it's our bracket. It's not theirs.
I want to check out one thing because Oklahoma flipped back to being the favorite the other night. So right now it is currently Alabama +1.5. They were minus one
Wow.
and a half. So that keeps flip. That's flopped like two or three times, but whatever. Who cares? Roll Tide. Alabama. There we go. All right. Next pick, we go to the Saturday slate. We have Miami versus Texas A&M. Interesting game here. A lot of people on Miami. Texas A&M, I think, is the better team. I think there's more routes to victory for Texas A&M. My fear, I don't know if you saw the running back press conference. I forget what player it was, but they asked him, like, what's the challenge of facing a team like Miami? And he's like, he didn't say there's no challenge, but he's basically he gave some bulletin board material in the question. He's his hat's like this, and he's talking low. He don't care. Like it was not a good look, I don't think, for Texas A&M. So they need to come out, run the football, and back it up. But this is the healthiest Texas A&M has been at the running back position, Grant. So you like A&M or you like Miami?
Well, when we talked about this game earlier in the week, I had said that I liked Miami at +3.5. Outright winning on the road, College Station. Mike Elko was the coach. It's a different prospect. That you can cover 3.5, and you might not win the game. So I'll be honest, I do still feel compelled to take Miami. I look at these quarterbacks in very similar ways, even though they're actually completely different quarterbacks, Marcel Reed and Carson Beck. I think they both can go out and win this game, and I think they both can go out and lose it. I think they have that turnover gene in them that is an ever-present danger. Marcel Reed, obviously more of a dual threat, but then Carson Beck probably, certainly actually, he has more big game experience against the SEC because he did it at Georgia. Miami, I think, is probably the only ACC team that's physical enough to go play SEC football and withstand it. So I think it is quietly probably a very good matchup. I'm not going to fault anyone for taking A&M, certainly, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carson Beck, with all of his experience in the SEC, would not be surprised if he goes on the road here and puts up 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Miami wins.
I don't think that's going to happen. So we got to take Texas A&M.
That's fine. We can take Texas
I mean,
A&M for the sake of the bracket.
whoever, yeah, for the sake of the bracket, whoever is winning that game is probably going to lose the second one, I would think. The reason I'm leaning Texas A&M, again, I don't have a ton of confidence here. I like the fact of where Texas A&M was at the end of the season against Texas. I do like that. I like the fact that you've been sitting on that bad loss for 3 weeks now, and you're ready to go. Biggest game pretty much in program history coming up. You got Miami coming to town, and my fear with Texas A&M is they're acting like Miami is Tulane. Like that is my fear because they're not. They're a good football team. They're physical. They're built different. Carson Beck. He's going to make mistakes. He can also go out and win the game. The biggest thing is the SEC experience. Like the game itself is not going to be too big for him. The players around him, who knows? We'll find out. But I think Marcel Reed can do more for you if he doesn't have the turnover gene in this game. Like we've seen how explosive Texas A&M is. They're very explosive. Same thing with Miami. But I think overall the schedule this season is going to lean towards Texas A&M. Miami has not played the best ACC schedule. Obviously, Texas A&M has not played the best SEC schedule, but it's still a dogfight playing in the SEC every week, where I can't say that about the ACC. So I'll go Texas A&M at home.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams play coming off of bye weeks, essentially, too.
Yeah. I think Miami can win. There is a route to victory for Miami. I think there's more routes to victory for A&M, and I think there's more routes to victory for like a controlling victory with A&M than there is with Miami.
That part I would agree with, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm cool putting A&M in the bracket.
Okay, cool. Now we got the 3:30 kick, Ole Miss, Tulane, Lane Kiffin. I guarantee Lane Kiffin's going to be live tweeting this game.
I don't think it'll be more. I think it'll be one tweet at the end of it, and it'll be something sarcastic.
Like, good luck. You don't think he'll do a good luck tweet and then a like congrats tweet? You don't think
Yeah.
he'll be like Trinidad Chambly or whatever, how you ever say the name? Great throw, man. The offense
Nope.
is cooking.
Nah.
I don't know. I mean, whatever. But Ole Miss versus Tulane, Grant. Ole Miss smacked Tulane earlier in the season in September. I imagine they're going to smack them once again, but how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, if Summerall was staying there, then maybe I would give him a chance just with the whole Kiffin departure and lots of the offensive staff. And like Chambliss is apparently considering already entering the transfer portal, which I understand. Like you'd probably follow Lane to LSU. I don't know, but it's just so much going on there that if Tulane was fully bought in, head coach was fully bought in, right year, been building something, yeah, I would do it. But Summerall's also out the door. He's posting pictures where he's cut down the middle in Florida gear. He's trying to build his staff there while preparing for this. So I don't think an upset really has much of a chance.
Yeah, Ole Miss, hotty toddy. Oregon James Madison, not even really worth talking about this one. The Ducks are gonna smack JMU, like destroy them.
Yeah, they'll be up. They'll be up by probably 28 to 21 to 28 at halftime, and then they'll probably just ease up, make sure their guys are healthy.
Yeah, JMU team total over 13 and a half. I don't hate it. I think that could be a decent play. But yeah, that's the first four picks. This one could be an upset. Obviously, this one could be an upset. These two should be set in stone. We'll start with the Orange Bowl here for the quarterfinals. We have Oregon facing Texas Tech in Miami. We have a spread on this one. I believe it's Texas Tech minus 1.5 right now. Grant, do you lean towards the oil money with Texas Tech, or do you take Oregon? A lot of people think both teams have a chance of winning a national title, which I would say they do in this side of the bracket. So who are you taking here?
Well, just confirming, we do have odds for this game. It's Texas Tech minus 1.5. However, both teams minus 110 on the money line. So literally a pick 'em right down the middle.
Yeah.
This would be a very, very fun matchup for me. I'm as much as people love Dan Lanning, I think I love him more than most people do. So I just love Dan Lanning. I think he could have his team fully prepared for this game. Oregon's going to have momentum beating up on an easy opponent. They're going to be in rhythm versus Texas Tech's going to be rested coming off of a bye. So that gets into whole that theoretical debate. Oregon's got all the talent in the world. However, when it's easy for Dante Moore, I will say this is a Dante Moore game. It's easy to look like a good quarterback, top 5, top 3 draft pick, whatever he's going to be, when you're going or when your running game is averaging 6, 7 yards a carry, which is what they have done pretty much this entire season. Their running back numbers are just silly. but you're going against a Texas Tech defense that is legitimately outstanding, stuffed with NFL talent all over the place. A lot of people thought their linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez, should have been at least at the Heisman ceremony, if not the Heisman winner. So it's going to be a test. And like I said, I think it's going to come down to Dante Moore because I don't think Oregon's going to run all over the field like they have. Texas Tech's offense is one of the most explosive in the country. But as far as just winning consistently down to down, that's probably their downfall a little bit. So it's going to be, can Dante Moore control the game? And then can Texas Tech still find a way to generate those chunk plays? I'm going to take Oregon. I think they are just barely ahead in this game, like the entire time. I think they have a 3-point lead, and that's just how it goes the whole game. But I do think it will be very close.
I'm down to take Oregon here. I really don't know yet. I would probably lean towards Texas Tech personally, but I think either of those teams can win. And obviously, it's a coin flip. My thing with Texas Tech is we don't know how good they actually are yet. Like, we have no clue because you play in the Big 12. There's not a lot of competition in the Big 12. BYU is their best competition so far. BYU cannot score. They play really good defense. Texas Tech put up points on them. This is going to be a challenge for Texas Tech. Don't get me wrong, but Texas Tech honestly could be one of the best teams in the country. They could, and they are a top four seed. But like talent, talent per talent, like they could be that team. We just don't know because they haven't faced anybody. Like I look at the Indiana versus Oregon game earlier in the season. That was the game where you're like, okay, Indiana's pretty legit right now, going on the road, beating Oregon. Um, as a 7.5 point underdog. This could be the game for Texas Tech where people say, okay, Texas Tech is actually legit now. And we'll find out. But I'll take Oregon here, but definitely going to be a game that tells a lot about both teams.
Yeah, and to be fair, Oregon's schedule, I mean, they also haven't really proved themselves. They kind of did last year, and we're rolling that over to this year. But I mean, their best wins are they beat Penn State when Penn State was ranked third, but that was early in the season. They only beat them by 6. We saw the collapse Penn State had. Lose by 10 to Indiana, which I'm not going to fault them. A 2-point win at Iowa, and then they beat USC by 15. Those are their best wins. So does that really prove that they are an elite team? No, that doesn't prove that.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech may have better wins on there. Who knows? I think the Big 12, do you think the Big 12 pound for pound is stronger than the Big 10 if you don't play a team like Ohio State, Michigan, and I mean, you played Indiana, obviously, but say you don't play Ohio State, Penn State, I mean, beating them on the road was an impressive win, but I think the Big 12 week by week may be actually tougher than the Big 10 taking out the top teams.
Yeah, the Big Ten's definitely tougher to win because they have those 3, 4 top level teams: Indiana, Ohio State, uh, Penn State formerly. We'll see what happens. Michigan, obviously in that mix. You got all those teams, but then the teams in the middle, if you compare it to the teams in the middle of the Big 12, the whole Big 12 is the middle. That's the thing. Like Texas Tech and Utah and Kansas State and BYU, they are all right there. Anybody can give you a game on any given day. So yeah, as far as like judging just the middle, I would say the Big 12 is tougher than the Big 10.
All right, Grant. Well, we got a big one coming up here next. Alabama versus Indiana. I think Alabama's down to like a 5.5 point dog if this game were to take place. It was 5.5 to 6.5. If you want to pull up that
Six and a
number.
half on FanDuel right now.
Here's my hot take. Whoever wins the Orange Bowl, probably going to the national championship unless they face Alabama. Because I think if Oregon faces Indiana again, Oregon's going to win the football game. I think if Texas Tech beats Oregon and faces Indiana, they're gonna beat Indiana. I think they're gonna prove themselves and they're a better team. I think if Alabama gets to the semifinals and they're healthy, they're still Bama. Like that's the difference versus the Indiana side. Bama is Bama. They have the talent. They've played the schedule. They can beat both those teams. So if you had to pick between Alabama or Indiana, who would you go with and why?
Well, I don't want to ruin the rest of the bracket. I don't agree with you about the whole Oregon or Texas Tech is going to the national championship thing. I would take Indiana in the spot. Indiana right now is the best team in the country. Now there is at least one team with more talent than them, and that team is Ohio State. We'll see. This Oregon Texas Tech matchup is going to teach us a lot. Georgia's been getting better and better as the year has gone on, but Indiana has been the best team in the country, and they're kind of like the Patriots right now because they haven't faced a very tough schedule, but they have blown the bad teams out, and when they face the good teams, they beat them as well. So you got Mendoza, the Heisman winner, as the quarterback. The fact that they won the Big Ten championship game is actually it's not even just that they beat Ohio State, it's that they won that big game because we saw Indiana have this amazing regular season last year. They get to the playoffs and they're just not competitive against Notre Dame. They never had a chance. The fact that they got to and won a big game means that they're no longer like this cool, fun little Cinderella story. Like, no, they're just a good team and they expect to win. So, Alabama, we've talked about the inconsistencies with them recently. They can get up for the biggest game and win it and look great, and then they'll just be disappointing a week later. I think Indiana is better on offense and defense, and Coach Sig is doing as good of a job as anybody is coaching his team.
I agree with that. With that being said, if Alabama comes out looks really good against Oklahoma, that spread's going to move in Alabama's favor. And I think defensively, Alabama can compete. Offensively, if they're healthy, they can compete with Indiana too. Like that's Alabama can beat Indiana on any given day. I think Alabama's good enough to get through and win this game. I'll take Indiana here, but I don't think anybody would be surprised if Alabama came in and knocked off Indiana because we don't know what these Big Ten teams are. We know what Alabama is. I mean, just facing Georgia twice. I know they got smacked by them once, but you also beat them once. That's tough. I mean, even a team like I'll say a team like LSU. Like LSU is not good, right? But there's still SEC talent across the board on that football team that they have to face every week. And that's not the same schedule of what Indiana played this season.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Alabama could win. I would certainly not be picking them to do it, but they could win.
Yeah. All right. Ole Miss, Georgia, Sugar Bowl. Who we got?
For me, this one's not close. I think Georgia's getting the bye. You heard the way Kirby was talking to him. He's going to have them right where they wanted them. I'm not worried about any bye week fatigue or hangover when you have a coach like Kirby Smart, maybe a less experienced coach. Okay, sure, but I trust Kirby to have them ready to roll. Again, Ole Miss is just they're decimated. Their quarterback's probably leaving at the end of the year. They've lost so much of the offensive staff. The players are going to be on the way out, and Golden is gonna he's going to galvanize them to a certain extent, but you need to play your best game with everything you have when you go to face Georgia, and that's just not what they have.
Yep, I agree with that. I will take the dogs there. Dominant win. I mean, Ole Miss was up on them. Ole Miss should have beat them last time. If you didn't have the Georgia program, the culture game, like Ole Miss wins that football game. So I think this time Georgia is going to absolutely smack them. Texas A&M, Ohio State, New Year's Eve, 7:30 kickoff. Big game here. I look at Texas A&M or Miami, really whoever gets through that because we both kind of disagreed on who was going to win that game. But whoever gets through is going to have their hands full with Ohio State. With that being said, Ohio State of 2025 is not Ohio State of 2024. There are holes on this football team for sure. It is not the same football team. You don't have Will Howard to bail you out. Julian saying while he was in the Heisman conversation, obviously he was a finalist, he's not going to go out and win football games for you. If you can limit what they do on the perimeter, you're going to be okay. And I think Miami or Texas A&M has the physicality to match up with them. I do think Ohio State gets through and win this game. But like all these bets of Ohio State versus the field, I would take the field in a heartbeat.
Yeah, so I think Texas A&M has a much better chance to beat Ohio State than Miami does, even though I think Miami is going to beat A&M. The thing with Will Howard there is interesting because I hear what you're saying, but also our perception of Will Howard changed so much because of that Notre Dame game. Going into that, we were saying what you were just saying about Julian saying, like, no, Will Howard's there for the ride and things like that. And then he goes, what, like 12 of
Tennessee,
13 in the first half. And
what Tennessee game? He was lights out in the Tennessee game. The first his whole
I
playoff
still
run
don't,
was
we still weren't
unbelievable.
saying Will Howard is changing the game.
I mean, Will Howard was changing the game. I mean, they were that good. Julian Saint's not going to get to that level as a sophomore.
I don't know. I feel he could. He was averaging, he was completing 80% of his passes for the majority of the season. It's not unrealistic. He goes like 21 of 24 in one of these games.
But like, look at this. Look at this schedule, Grant. This is embarrassing. That doesn't count because they were terrible. Grambling, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota. Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State when they were bad, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, Michigan, not a good Michigan team with the coach having all the issues, and then Indiana lose 13-10. Like you can't judge a team off this. You really can't.
It's not a good schedule. I'm not saying it is.
And I don't think Ohio State, and I think they're going to win the game, but I don't think Ohio State has seen the speed by anybody that Texas A&M has. The speed that Texas A&M has is going to be fast for Ohio State. They will be ready for it, but it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Texas A&M, Miami, it doesn't matter, but I do think Texas A&M ultimately has a better chance to win this game than Miami. I just think Texas A&M is going to present a lot of challenges to a point when we get to the semifinal game, we're going to be looking at Georgia saying that this team's probably winning the football game.
Yeah, Ohio State's greatest asset is they get to practice against themselves.
Yeah.
They get this, they get to see the speed, they get to see the talent every day, except for Saturday because they don't see it on Saturday. But yeah, Ohio State's gonna win this game.
Yeah. Even Caleb Downs said it. He was like playing in the SEC, it's a battle every week. And then playing in the Big Ten, it's like what, 3, 4 games a year where you really got to get up
Did he
for
really
them.
say that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good quote. Okay. So the only area where I maybe disagree, I potentially take Texas Tech here. Alabama, I don't think I could take them, but I wouldn't be surprised how if they sneak by OU, I'll take Indiana. If they come out and play like Bama, I might lean there. And then the rest is pretty locked in. So we got Big Ten, Big Ten, Big Ten, and then Georgia.
Yes.
We will start with the Georgia Ohio State game because that's actually the first kick, 1-8 at 7:30 p.m. versus 1-9 at 7:30 p.m. So, how do you see the Fiesta Bowl playing out, Grant? Your dogs going up against Ohio State. I imagine this will be Ohio State minus 2.5.
Well, let me just say it's weird. These games are on Wednesdays and Thursdays pretty much the whole way. Have you seen that?
See the semifinal game should be on Saturdays. That's a Wednesday?
So so it's Friday and Saturday for this weekend, and
Yep.
then it's going to be Ohio State versus whoever on Wednesday, and then Texas Tech, Indiana, and Georgia versus whoever on Thursday. And then the semifinal games are on Thursday and Friday, and then the national championship games on a Monday. Just put it on Saturday. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean they could definitely do the semis on a Saturday. I mean, you want to give them extra time, and I get it and I don't get it. Like I love the first round scheduling. I think that was great. I do wish that we would have had Texas A&M and M and Miami Saturday night and then put the dog water games early. Even because again, like there's a lot of people that would tune into that over the NFL. Like not everyone cares about Packers Bears. I think
Yeah.
so. Anyways, I agree. Scheduling's not great. But I understand why they have to do it with rest days and all that. But Oregon versus Indiana is on what, Friday? So we got Georgia, Ohio State. Georgia is going to win this game. Simple as that.
So I made my bracket myself and I had Ohio State in it. And I wasn't thinking anything of it. I was ready to pick Ohio State and I got to this game and I could not click the Ohio State button. I for whatever reason, there are players who are college football players through and through. Gunnar Stockton's not going to take a snap in the NFL. He'll be on the practice squad. He'll be an emergency quarterback somewhere. I don't know if he's going to get drafted. He might go in the seventh round, but I could see him going for like 350 and 4 touchdowns in this game and just refusing to lose. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you share that opinion.
Yeah, I do. Gunnar Stockton is the ultimate Kirby Smart Georgia college football player. And Kirby loves him, and the team loves him too. In Georgia, the way they've improved throughout the season, it's been so fun to watch. I mean, going from where they were in the Alabama game earlier in the year to where they are now, they are obliterating teams defensively, offensively. They have a rhythm on offense. I think like Mike Bobo is doing the job that like people are starting to come around to him. They throw a lot of screens. It's fun. They're explosive. Not Carson Beck. Gunnar Stockton can pull it down and run with it, and that hurt Alabama plenty of times in the SEC championship game. So yeah, I think Georgia wins this game. I don't think that much of Ohio State, especially against a team like Georgia that has matched up well this year. Like I look at last year, Georgia versus Notre Dame. Georgia went in there and fought Notre Dame. Like they played really, really hard in that football game. Didn't have the team to do it, obviously, with Gunnar Stockton making his first real start. This year, they have the team to go in and beat Ohio State. And I think Gunnar Stockton can outplay Julian Sane. Georgia's talent, week, position by position can match up with Ohio State. And then when you look at just the workload this season, Georgia has faced much tougher competition. They're going to be ready to go.
Yeah, the standout players are going to be playing for Ohio State, so Kirby's going to need to do a great job. But I would much rather have Kirby Smart than Ryan Day in a coaching battle. Caleb Downs is going to make plays. Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles are going to make plays. Jeremiah Smith is going to make plays. Again, those game breakers, pretty much all of them play for Ohio State, which is very scary if you're rooting for Georgia here. Because basically you're saying the big plays are all going to happen for Ohio State. We got to win every other play. We got to win every small play. We got to win every medium play. But I do think Georgia could do that. I agree. I do think they can win that game.
Georgia wins the football game. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to see Georgia there. And like this whole Indiana Ohio State thing, I don't think it's going to happen again because we don't know how good these teams actually are. And Georgia has lost one football game this year to Alabama, and a game realistically, when you go back and watch it, they should have won it. And that was when Alabama was playing very well too. They've lost one game in the SEC. They've beaten everybody else. They've dominated everybody else. Ohio State has lost one game in a Big Ten championship game. They're very similar, and I'll take the SEC team. Oregon, Indiana. I don't see Oregon losing to Indiana twice. I think Sig's story is great. I think it's outstanding. With that being said, I trust Dan Lanning to get it done here. I trust Dante Moore. I trust Oregon's team speed. And when I will go back and I watch the Oregon Indiana game, it was almost like there was a fear amongst Oregon. They weren't ready for the moment. They weren't ready for the big game. I think if you can beat Texas Tech in the quarters, you move into the semis, you're going to be ready for the big game. Obviously, Mendoza looks great. Indiana's playing outstanding right now. With that being said, this is a pretty good letdown spot against Oregon in the semifinals. I think people are going to be all on the Indiana Ohio State train. This is going to be the matchup, blah, blah, blah. And then Oregon comes in and beats them.
I disagree. I don't have much else to say. I don't think the playing them twice in the same season thing applies here. I think Mendoza is better than Dante Moore. I think
Oh,
Indiana's got a
yeah.
really good defense that people don't talk about because they are looked at as this offensive team that blows teams out. Again, love Dan Lanning. I do. Oregon just not going to be running for 6 or 7 yards per carry. That's going to force them to play a style of game they haven't really played all year. Indiana is explosive. They got the Heisman. They got defense. They just won a 13-10 game in the Big Ten championship, and Oregon's defense is not like Ohio State's defense is. So I have Indiana in this one.
We'll take the higher seed. But there's no doubt about this game. There's no
Well,
doubt.
so that would be my question then. Like, let's do this for both Georgia, Oregon, and Georgia, Indiana. Let's go over it.
I think Georgia matches up better against Oregon or I think Georgia matches up better against Indiana than they do against Oregon personally. I think
So you
Oregon's
think
team,
Georgia would beat Indiana?
I think Georgia would beat Indiana. I think Georgia would beat Oregon too, but I think Indiana against Georgia is a better matchup than Dan Lanning's Oregon Ducks versus Georgia. I think Oregon's team speed can hurt Georgia more than what Indiana is going to do to them. Indiana, you can confuse Mendoza if you keep him in the pocket and you get pressure on him. And for Georgia, I think they can get pressure on him. Where I think Oregon's team speed with Dante Moore and their ability to, get balls out quick, and it presents more challenges for Georgia's defense. The blueprint to beating Indiana here, in my mind, how we look at this, it's like if you can just bring the same strategy of you had against Ty Simpson and get pressure with four really, and then blitz and strategic downs, I think you can get to Mendoza.
I hear you. I think Mendoza is better than Dante Moore. I don't think Dante Moore would handle the pressure as well. But I hear you that Oregon speed could be harder for them to beat. So yeah, I think there's a good argument to it.
I don't care who they play. They're going to win the game. Like nobody has seen Georgia this year. Oregon hasn't seen them. Indiana hasn't
It's
seen them.
so funny that we're ending up go ahead and just go ahead and click the button. Like we're taking Georgia to win it all. But it's just funny because Georgia has been kind of out of sight, out of mind. This has been like sort of the down years the last couple of years. People aren't talking about them, and we're picking them to win the national championship.
And they went 11-1 in the SEC and then won the SEC championship. Like that's the thing that we're missing here too. Like this is a down year. They aren't as good. It's Carson Beck, or not Carson Beck. I keep thinking Carson Beck. It's Gunnar Stockton's first year as the starting quarterback, and they are still in a position to go out and win the national championship because I don't think anyone else is that good. Did Fernando Mendoza deserve to win the Heisman Trophy? No, no. When you look at his numbers historically against other quarterbacks who've won the Heisman Trophy, did he really deserve to go win the Heisman Trophy? No.
It was a down year for the award.
Jeremiah Smith, Jeremiah Love deserved to win the Heisman, I think, over all of them personally. I mean, Diego Pavia is like literally a meme, and he was there, right? Like, and he probably deserves to win it over Fernando
He had
Mendoza.
better numbers than Mendoza did.
He did. He just the way he presents himself is not good. Like, F the voters. That was dumb.
Yeah, that
Um,
was dumb.
I think it's a down year for college football in general. Indiana, we don't know how good they are. Oregon, I think the speed presents a challenge. Dan Lanning scares me a little bit, but I don't think they're that good. Texas Tech could be a dark horse if they get through that game. You never know. And I think this is a year where Ohio State is not nearly as good as they were last year. And Georgia's just chugging along, 11-1 in the SEC. So I'm feeling pretty good about it, Grant. I am feeling very good about this bracket. Make sure you guys share your bracket picks with us. Comment them down below before we move into the NFL here.
Yeah, 100%. Are we good to go, NFL?
Yep, we're good to go, NFL.
Some big games in the NFL this weekend. Couple of games on Saturday after we're done watching Oregon blow the doors off of JMU and Ole Miss stomp Tulane into the ground. Big games on Saturday, big games on Sunday. Tanner and I are here to give you the best player prop picks from a few of those standout games. Also going to look over at Monday Night Football as well. Game number one we're going to be talking about right here. The Chicago Bears rematching against the Green Bay Packers. These teams played just a couple of weeks ago. Yet another instance of the NFL schedule makers doing two matchups between the same teams in 3 weeks. Hate it, hate it, hate it. But we are getting back to the field in this one. One big note here. Team's going to look a little different. Micah Parsons suffering that torn ACL in the last game. So, Tanner, how are we feeling about this game overall?
Feeling good about it. I'm going to be on the Packers, or on the Bears, I should say. You're on the Packers. The reason I like the Bears in this game, I think overall, they are the better football team without Micah Parsons on the field the way they're playing. And you go back to the last game, there were moments down the stretch where the Bears could have converted, found a way to win. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do that, or fortunately, I should say, because I had the Packers, but for them, unfortunately, throwing the pick in the end zone there. My biggest X factor in this game, no Micah Parsons. Caleb Williams was under a ton of pressure in the last game. He escaped the pocket a lot and he made some great plays. I don't know if he can replicate that exactly, but if he can stay in the pocket a little more without the pressure from Micah Parsons, I do think the Bears get it done here at home.
Yeah, so I'll take you to one of my player props from this game. And I do like the Packers in this game. I'm not going to lie, but I think it's going to be close. One of my player props here actually speaks to something you were talking about there. Caleb Williams over 212 and a half passing yards in this one. I looked it up because I remember what you said. That's what my eyes remember of Caleb was under pressure a lot in that game. Well, I went back and I looked. He was pressured on 41% of his dropbacks by the Packers. Without Micah Parsons there, that is not going to happen. And Caleb did make plays outside of the pocket, but he also only completed like 54.3% of his passes. He was 19 of 35. So just naturally, the way things go, you figure he's able to complete another 2, 3, 4 of those without that pressure. He was at 186, so now he needs another 30 yards or so. Yeah, I think he can definitely get to that.
Now, one play that I'm going to take a chance on here. I like Caleb Williams to have the most passing yards in the game for plus 132. We just look how the game script played out last time between these two teams. Josh Jacobs, 20 carries, 86 yards, like just dominant running performance, had a long carry of 21. Now, Jordan Love did have the most passing yards in the game, 234, average 9.4 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. But if I'm the Packers coming into this game, I want to come out and try to run the football. I want to slow the pace down. I want to take some pressure off my defense and just enforce my will, especially being on the road here. It's going to be a little tougher to throw, and I think they do want to run. For the flip side, for the Bears, being at home, it's going to be quiet when you're on offense. gives you more opportunities to call different things, stretch the field a little bit. Again, going back to Micah Parsons not being on the field, it's going to give Caleb Williams more time in the pocket. And also, he was really good when he got outside the pocket, too. So guys were getting open. Luther Burden third, four receptions, 67 yards last time. Cole Kmet, 2 for 42. Guys had big games. I think this is a spot where I can take a chance and, be comfortable with it. Caleb Williams to have more passing yards than Jordan Love.
Yeah, the only thing I would worry about there is, Rome Odunze questionable, Luther Burden questionable. So maybe I would be waiting to see their statuses before we kick off. But I like the Caleb over, like I said. I'll give you another prop. I like Josh Jacobs as an anytime touchdown scorer. He's just a running back used in the way running backs should get near the goal line, put it in their belly, let them go to work. Scored 2 touchdowns last week. He scored in 2 straight weeks. That includes the last matchup between the Packers and the Bears. He's basically scored. He's scored in the vast majority of games. There are only 3 games this entire year where he has not found the end zone. So the fact that you are getting these odds for, and I just closed it, I should have it right here. The fact that you are getting these odds for minus 125, considering he scored in 11 of 14 games, that's pretty tempting.
I like it. I like it. My touchdown score here, down between two. I kind of want to take a chance on Caleb Williams in this game at a plus 440. I don't think that's a bad bet. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. And the way the Packers were able to pressure, even without Micah Parsons, they're still going to get some pressure. They saw how effective it was, getting him outside the pocket. Maybe he turns up near the goal line. That's when they put the pressure on him. Plus 440. I don't mind that. Also, kind of like Cole Kmet here, especially with all the injuries that you were saying. All the questionable receivers right now. Cole Kmet was a limited participant in practice as well. But the fact of the matter is 2 touchdowns on the season. He had one 3 weeks ago against the Philadelphia Eagles, had a big game last time out against the Green Bay Packers with the 42 yards, 21 yards per reception there. If he can stretch the field here and you're getting him for plus 370, I don't think that's a bad bet at all. Looking at the game film from last time, seeing what they can do with him this time. I mean, if you're thinking about a guy that's going to slip by the mind of the Green Bay Packers, it's probably Cole Kmet.
Anybody else? Are we good to go to the next game?
Yep. Take us into it.
Sunday Night Football, New England Patriots, Baltimore Ravens. One of the most disrespectful lines that you will see. You got the Ravens, who it's not like Lamar just came back or anything like that. No, they've had their players there on the field. They're 7-7. The Patriots are 11-3. We're on a 10-game winning streak until they lost to the Bills last weekend. They did collapse, but they were also up 21-0. So the fact that the Bills or the Patriots are 3-point underdogs on the road against the Ravens is just crazy to see. And I'll start by saying this, and this kind of gives away I'm taking the Patriots, right? But we have to stop holding the Ravens to their preseason expectations. Now, could they go win the game? Yeah, they have all the talent in the world. Does that mean I'm going to bet on them to do it? No, because they're a 500 football team. And even when they've gone on this stretch where they've won, I think it's 5 of their last 6, or sorry, no, it would be 5 of their last 7 or 6 of their last 8, whatever it was. The teams they were beating, they beat the Bears. That was the first game in the winning streak. It was the Dolphins. It was the Vikings where J.J. McCarthy turned the ball over twice and they were still really close. They beat the Browns by 1 score. They beat the Jets. They beat the Bengals. Like, let's see them play a team as good as the Patriots and win before we make them favorites against the Patriots.
It's not disrespectful, Grant. Come on. You got a team in the Ravens who need to win to make the playoffs. They're at home and it's under a field goal. Like that's just what it would be. And if the Ravens were in New England, it would be 2.5 in favor of the Patriots. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Ravens need a win here. I like the Patriots. I think they're the better overall team. And Lamar Jackson has not looked super healthy by any means. I think, he said this is the healthiest I've felt. And we're in a situation now where he just still doesn't look good. We're getting Derrick Henry touchdown minus 125, which I will be taking. Like that kind of shows the state of the Baltimore Ravens right now. They're not figuring it out offensively when he's minus 125 to score a touchdown. So I think the Patriots win the game. I would not be surprised if the Ravens win it. And another thing too, the Patriots haven't hit the down stretch of their season yet. Like there hasn't been that moment where like, okay, the Patriots are struggling here. Like every team has to go through that at some point. It could be these 2 games and then they get back on track in the final 2 weeks of the season.
So I'm also going to take Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. Great odds, like you said. I'm also going to take Derrick Henry over 79.5 rushing yards. The Patriots defense against the run has just been abysmal recently. Since the first 2 months of the season, they're 30th in EPA per play against the rush, 31st in success rate. So they are just not stopping anybody on the ground. And then I'll take Drake Maye over 237.5 passing. I don't expect the Patriots to run wild. And Travion Henderson has been a real home run hitter for them, but he's averaging like I don't want to take this away from him because he ran for 140 yards, whatever it was. He's getting these big plays, but just down to down, there's a lot of 0 yard runs, 1 yard runs, 2 yard runs. So I don't think controlling the ground is going to be the way to victory for the Patriots here. And Drake May just had his first game of the season below 200 yards passing. I think he bounces back.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know what? Can't hurt to take a Drake May anytime rushing touchdown too, a plus 350 based on what he did last week. You're showing these big things. Josh McDaniels has a lot up his sleeve still for big games. He needed to use it last week against the Buffalo Bills. Zone read, that was the first time Drake May's like ever pulled it on zone read around the goal line. This could be another spot where he finds a way to get Drake May involved with his legs this point in the season, big game. There is a scenario here, and I don't think it's going to happen, but if the Patriots lose to the Dolphins, and the Bills win out, the Bills would win the division, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, but it could happen.
You never know. You never know in the NFL. That's the thing. You never know. So the Patriots got to go out and take care of business in the games that they have to go take care of business in. Big game. This is just one that you need mentally. You got a good team, good AFC team, coming off a bad loss. You're going on the road. How do you respond?
Well, speaking of big game, is there a bigger game than primetime Philip Rivers, the Indianapolis Colts taking on the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football? You know what really grinds my gears? This really irritates me. Philip Rivers, I found out, spells his name with one L in
Yeah.
Philip. I
hmm
hate that.
I mean, I hate it too. He's got like 15 children too. It's crazy.
He's setting a bad example for them. But Philip, in his return to the NFL, what did he do? Like 120 yards, one touchdown, one pick on what would have been the game-winning drive. Yeah, 18 to 27, 120, one touchdown, one pick. I'll be honest, he actually wasn't bad in that game. He wasn't really asked to do much. And with how good of a coach Shane Steichen is and how great of a season Jonathan Taylor is having, that's kind of all they want from their backup quarterback. If they're not going to have a real starter, just go in there and don't do much and just don't turn the ball over. And Rivers did turn the ball over, but it was a game-winning drive. He kind of had to throw the football in. He was in an adverse circumstance. So how do you think it's going to go now that they're on the road against the Niners?
I think they're going to get smacked by the Niners personally. But with that being said, I kind of need to take Philip Rivers over 154 and a half passing yards. Like it just makes too much sense because it was clear the entire game last week for the Seahawks, and they didn't really do a great job stopping Jonathan Taylor. He still had 87 rushing yards. Like they were running the ball every damn play. Like it was play after. If you just load the box up, you enforce Philip Rivers to throw the ball. We're going to see what happens. He can still make the throws. You have to respect it, obviously. But if I am the 49ers, I am saying Jonathan Taylor is not getting more than 2, 3 yards a carry, and we are going to make Philip Rivers beat us. And if that's the case, he probably goes over 154 and a half.
Totally get the logic there. The only counter I would have is the Seahawks have the best run defense in football, and the 49ers do not. So I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor over 96 and a half. I mean, he's going to carry it. He's got to carry it 25 times probably. That's going to be the game plan. So if he averages 4 yards a carry, really, if he just averages like 2.5 and rips off one explosive run, he's going to go over this line.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I still think though, if you're going to make him if you're trying to beat this Colts team, you're going to try to shut down the run, like and do whatever it takes there. Philip Rivers over half a passing touchdown is now minus 210, which is crazy to think. Another area you could go with Philip Rivers over 17 and a half completions. I think that's another decent way to attack this. Had 18 last week against Seattle, only going to get better. They're going to have to throw the ball more and more, and they're not taking high risk throws. So that's another reason to say over 17 and a half.
Yeah, everything was so close to the line of scrimmage. And again, it goes back to just don't screw this up. That's all they're asking of him.
Yeah, and he can do that. So the Colts have to probably win one game to make the playoffs. Is that where we're at?
They have 8 or 9 wins.
They have, let's see
They're
here.
8 and 6.
Yeah, they are eight. So they're not even in right now. They
No,
have a 12% chance of making it. Um, yeah,
they're probably out in all honesty.
it's crazy. It's crazy where they were to where they are now.
Yeah, and they've lost four straight games, but it's 3 points on the road to the Chiefs, 4 points to the Texans. Okay, you lose by 17 to the Jags. That's bad. But then 2 points on the road to the Seahawks. They've been very close. They just haven't won.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anything else, Grant, before we wrap it up here?
Philip Rivers in prime time. I can't wait to see it.
No, I'm pumped for it too. It's going to be a great weekend. Starts tomorrow night with Alabama. Roll Tide.
Roll
Roll,
Tide.
roll Tide. But anyways, guys, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Ride the Line, smash the subscribe button, share it. Check out WSN.com. We got sports betting picks, promos, articles up there for college football playoff, NFL, NBA. So make sure you guys check that out. And Grant, why don't you take us out of here?
That's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line, guys. We appreciate you all joining us, and we will catch you in the next episode.